now, let me know if I need to speak louder for those of you in the back. Make my voice carry pretty decently. But this, I can say definitively, this is the prettiest location that we've done any of these, 150 of these that we have done. I'm State Representative Josh Turek. I am running to be your next United States Senator. I am currently the only member of in the legislature that is representing the disabled population, to be able to give a voice and representation to the 1 in 5 Iowans that I'm very proud of. I am also the Democrat that represents the reddest district that was won on Election Day. The two communities that I represent, Carter Lake, Trump won by 18 points. My hometown and community of Council Bluffs, he won by 10 points. I was able to win my district by nearly 6 points. That was 50% more overperformance than any other Democrat in the state. And what that has taught me is the right candidate with the right message and the right work ethic, we can win. And I believe that this is the year when the pendulum swings back our direction, and we are going to be able to win these elections statewide, and we are going to be able to make Iowa blue again. I'm being attacked here by, I hope
You
the
must
wind
be
keeps up.
sweet because nothing is attacking me.
Maybe I'm in the wrong spot. Over there, I'll try this. I'm born and raised in Council Bluffs, Iowa, as was mentioned, to a working class family and a working class community. I'm someone that went through an enormous amount of economic adversity. We're a family that we went to the Goodwill for clothes, shared clothes, went to the free summer lunch programs. So in a deeply personal way, I understand what so many Iowans and so many Americans are going through right now, just struggling to keep food on the table and a roof above their head. Also, I was born with my disability. I was born with a condition called spina bifida. This was due to my father's exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam. I had my first surgery at 1 day old. I had 21 surgeries before I was 12. And so in a very deeply personal way, I understand the importance of affordable and accessible healthcare, and I believe that healthcare is a human right. From humble beginnings, thankfully for me, found wheelchair basketball. Because of the help of wheelchair basketball and the help of vocational rehabilitation, was able to get a college education, had a very successful collegiate career in wheelchair basketball, scored over 4,000 career points, barely beating out Caitlin Clark. Something I'm and the highlight of my basketball career was I was able to represent the United States in 4 Paralympic Games and won back-to-back gold medals representing the USA in wheelchair basketball, something I'm quite proud of. Beyond that, for more than a decade, I've been a director of a nonprofit organization for disabled kids, try to be a role model to them, to give back to the next generation. The way that I found myself into the legislature, the way I found myself into politics, I was working in healthcare. I was working as what's called an assistive technology professional. What I was doing was I was assessing and providing mobility devices like power wheelchairs for individuals with progressive conditions like muscular dystrophy, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And what we were finding was, unfortunately, since Iowa has privatized its Medicaid system, a 1,000% increase in denial rate. I thought this was unbelievably wrong, unjust, and moral. Then I'd found out that Iowa had not had a permanently disabled member with a mobility device, that the Iowa Capitol was not even accessible. And I thought it was because of this complete total lack of representation is why we were seeing all these unnecessary barriers to healthcare and to employment. And so I decided to run. And they said, Josh, you can't win out here in Western Iowa as a Democrat. It's too red. I said, I'm going to attack this the same way that I've overcome all the other adversity in my life, the same way I won gold medals. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to outwork my opponent. And in Council Bluffs, it's called Bluffs for a reason. It's hilly. What that meant for me was every single day, rain or shine, hot or cold, dragging my wheelchair upstairs to have conversations with Republicans and independents, because the math just did not work any other way. In 2022, I was the only Democrat to win a competitive election on the western side of the state. Overperformed by more than 10 points to win by the grand total of 6 votes. So never doubt how much every single one of your votes makes a huge difference in this. But what I'm more proud of than the 6 vote margin is in 2024, the Republicans spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on negative television ads. Americans for Prosperity spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on canvassers, negative mailers, and we took that 6 vote margin and we moved it into a 6% margin. Again, 50% more than any other Democrat in the state in terms of overperformance. And what that has taught me is right candidate, right message, and I believe that that message is common sense prairie populism, like Senator Harkin used to talk about, and the right work ethic, we can win. And this is going to be the year that we are going to be able to win these statewide elections here in Iowa. I get asked all the time why I want to run for the U.S. Senate. I think two stories encapsulated. The first is, I think we have enough individuals that are millionaires up in D.C. I think we have enough individuals that come from privilege. We've got 73 millionaires in the United States Senate. We have millionaires that are looking out for billionaires. And what I think that we need more of is we need more individuals in D.C. from places like Council Bluffs, Iowa, with lived experience, both with healthcare adversity and economic adversity. Because when you have experienced personally, you will have a different level of empathy. You'll have a different level of fight. And that's what we need right now in D.C. We need fighters for the people, fighters for the workers, fighters for the middle class, fighters for us, for the people, not just looking out for the billionaires and the large corporations. Secondly, every single bit of all of this success that I've been able to have in my life, I owe to a senator from Iowa. Senator Tom Harkin, our longtime senator here, was the father of the American with Disabilities Act. The ADA provided me and so many other disabled Americans an on-ramp onto society to be successful. And I believe, like Senator Harkin, I'm so honored to have his endorsement in this race. This is an amazing once-in-a-generation opportunity we have here in Iowa to once again have a senator from Iowa that is fighting for social and economic justice and fighting for these social safety nets that have allowed so many of us to be successful, fighting for Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, and not just looking out for the billionaires and the large corporations like what we've had. My opponent, Ashley Hinson, is just Joni Ernst 2.0, but arguably even worse. We can't have her in the United States Senate. Yes, she is someone. Ashley Hinson is someone that has voted for 119,000 Iowans to lose their health care, for thousands more to lose their basic food assistance, just to give tax breaks to billionaires. She's someone that voted against the ACA subsidy. That's 119,000 Iowans that are looking at their healthcare premiums doubling or tripling. As I've been traveling the state, I've run into young people that have seen their premiums go from not just double or triple, 5 or 6-fold increase. She's someone that 4 times voted in favor of the tariffs, which have decimated our rural communities and our family farmers, and our commodities prices being upside down. She's someone that voted against the PACT Act for our veterans. She is someone that in her time in DC, and it's not been that long, 6 years, 10 times more wealthy. She's someone that voted against banning stock trading for members of Congress. She has just been a rubber stamp for Trump and has just looked out for the billionaires and the large corporations, the lobbyists and the big donors. We need someone that is going to be out there, a genuine populist, fighting for the people. That's why I'm running for the United States Senate. I think it's important that you guys know what I'm going to be fighting for. So, as a common sense prairie populist, I'm out there. I think this upcoming election is about affordability, this is about cost, and this is about corruption. I'm out there talking about the issues that apply to 3.2 million Iowans. First bill I want to run in the United States Senate is a dignity and work bill. That is going to do 3 things. First, raise the minimum wage. You can all recognize $7.25 is not a livable wage. 2, do away with 14C certificates. This allows a for-profit business to pay someone just due to a disability a sub-minimum wage. And lastly, bring collective bargaining rights back to every single one of our workers. That's the first goal. Yeah. Second bill, I want to put a national ban on gerrymandering because we're seeing an erosion of democracy. I care very deeply about affordable housing. I have run a bill in the Iowa legislature every year that I've been there to put a 5-year moratorium on private equity to be able to buy up single-family homes. The average age of a first-time home buyer now in this country, 41 years old. I will fight to make sure that the American dream continues for the next generation of Americans and that home ownership is possible. I'm also someone that has absolutely carried the flag for affordable and accessible health care. I'm someone that believes that health care is a human right. In the U.S. Senate, I will be fighting for a public option to ensure that every Iowan, but every American has access to affordable, accessible health care. I believe it's a human right. And within that human right of health care also means women's reproductive health care. And in the United States Senate, I will fight to codify Roe v. Wade to ensure that every American woman has access to the reproductive freedom that she deserves. And lastly, with healthcare, maybe the issue that I've heard the most in knocking doors in a very blue-collar community of Council Bluffs and Carter Lake is individuals telling me, I've changed my job or I've changed my insurance, and I can no longer afford to take my medication. And I believe that it's fundamentally wrong in the richest country on earth for people to have to make an impossible choice of this month, do I take my pills or do I pay my bills? And from negotiated drug costs to caps on things like insulin, I will be fighting for every American to have access to affordable medication. I also believe in some very Iowa-specific issues. I believe in public schooling. I believe that public money belongs in our public schools. I believe that the single greatest indicator of future success in life is access to quality education. In Iowa, we were the very best at it. And from fighting for a fully funded Department of Education, a more equitable funding model, I believe that every child in this country deserves access to a world-class education, and that shouldn't matter whether they're born in an urban area, a rural area, affluent community, or not affluent community. Also, we've got to do something about the cancer rates that we're having here in Iowa. This is certainly something that has touched my life very deeply and personally. My grandmother died of pancreatic cancer. My father, due to his exposure to Agent Orange, has dealt with several bouts of cancer. And nearly the day that I launched this campaign, my sister got diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. And she has private insurance. And her private insurance basically came to her and said, you don't have enough cancer. Because you only have stage 2, not stage 3 or stage 4, we will not cover the PET scan to see if the cancer spread to other parts of your body. This is what is so fundamentally wrong with our healthcare system. We are maximizing profits literally off the backs of the most vulnerable. In the United States Senate, I will be fighting to put guardrails on these insurance companies to ensure that doctors are deciding care, not insurance companies. And as well to make sure that we return the funding. Here we lost $34 million with the big beautiful bill that was going to actually address this cancer crisis that we're seeing. And I will be fighting to address the cancer crisis that we're seeing in Iowa, but also the root cause of the cancer crisis in Iowa, which is our water quality crisis that we're seeing. And from making sure that we've got infrastructure and supports in place, making sure that we're having incentives to farmers on cover crops and land barriers, restoring funding to water quality sensors. Every single Iowan, regardless if you're Republican or Democrat, deserves access to clean water. These are some of the things that I'm going to be fighting for. And the last piece of policy that I'll talk to you about is we have to address the corruption that we are seeing in DC. Have to address it. This is a twofold problem. The first, we have to address the lack of campaign finance reform that we are seeing. We have to have campaign finance reform. We have to overturn Citizens United, one of the worst decisions in Supreme Court history. We have to pass the Disclose Act to make sure that every dollar that is donated to a political campaign directly or to a PAC or to a super PAC is accounted for. I say that we can have oligarchy or we can have democracy, but we cannot have both. And right now what we have is we have outsized influences from billionaires and large corporations that are paying off our politicians and buying off the process. I will fight for campaign finance reform. I'm putting my money where my mouth is on this. I'm not taking a nickel of corporate PAC money in this race. We are relying off of individuals because I don't want to be up there representing billionaires and large corporations. I want to be up there representing you, the people of Iowa. Secondly, we need to make sure that we have ethics reforms in place. This is reforms both to members of Congress and also to the Supreme Court. I believe that we need term limits. I believe that we need to ban members of Congress and their families from owning and trading stock. Great thing with me is I don't own any stocks, so you don't have to worry about me trading any. And we also need to mandate that every single member of Congress has at least one annual town hall to ensure that they are being accountable to their constituents, to the people. These are the things that I am fighting for. I want to leave you all with a little bit of hope and inspiration. I know that we here in Iowa over the last decade, we have been getting beaten up. And this can feel like a red state and this can feel hopeless at times. My message to you is we are not a red state. We are a common sense state that has masqueraded more red than what we are. Don't forget that this is a state that for 30 years we elected Senator Harkin. This is a state that twice voted for Obama, 3 times for Trump. We have more Obama-Trump counties than any other state in the union. In Trump's last midterm, we won 3 of the 4 congressional races, 3 points away from winning all 4. And in traveling this state for the last 9 months, I believe that there is significantly more energy and desire for change now than even then. And in 2022, which was not a good year for Democrats, the last midterm that we had, we were 1.5% away from having 3 of our 6 statewide officials being Democrats. That means your average Iowa voter in the last midterm went and voted for 3 Ds and 3 Rs. We're a common sense state that has masqueraded more red than what we actually are. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity that we've got in front of us. This is the first time since 1968 we have an open governor's race and an open Senate race and 2 open congressional races. We can win this thing. We've got polling out there right now that shows me versus Ashley Hinson that I'm leading Ashley Hinson by 2 points. Rob Sand is leading by even more than that. This isn't pie in the sky. We can absolutely win this thing. The amazing opportunity that we have here in Iowa, if we come together and we do a little bit more than what we've done, is we not only change our communities or our counties, we will make a generational change to this state. And if we're able to duplicate what we did in Trump's first midterm, winning 3 of the 4 congressional races, we flip Congress. The amazing opportunity, which no one thought was possible a year ago, is to take back the U.S. Senate. We have to win 4 states. We know what the map is. North Carolina, Maine, Ohio, seat number 51, Iowa. If we come together and do a little bit more than what we have done, we can change this country. We can save democracy. It's an amazing opportunity that we have here in Iowa. And so I leave you with 2 thoughts, and then I'm happy to take your questions to hear from you. The first is, I won my first election by just 6 votes. So I want to leave each and every one of you with a 6-vote initiative. And that is, if each and every one of us here that cares about this state, that cares about this country, that cares about democracy, if we do just a little more than what we've done before, knock 6 doors, talk to 6 family, talk to 6 friends, register 6 people to vote, bring 6 people to the polls, this will be the difference in us winning and losing these elections this year. And lastly, I believe it is going to be something beautifully poetic that the man that is coming to get Senator Harkin's seat back, and it is his seat 12 years later, is only there because of the work that he did on the American with Disabilities Act. And we can once again from Iowa have a senator that is fighting for the people, fighting for social and economic justice, fighting for social safety nets, and not just looking out for the billionaires and the large corporations. That is the amazing opportunity that we can do together. We can change this state, we can change this country. So thank you. And with that, I'm happy to hear from you all.
I just want to expand on what he's saying. You know, I was a county chairman back in '88.